All right, next up, we have a flywheel. So it's got a little hole for a locating pin right here. It's got a little locating pin over here. So let me mate these guys up. And here. From my reading and research, I think we have the drive shaft to transmission flange bolts that are 39 Newton meters. I've also read 33 Newton meters, a lot online, 29, so I don't know, we're gonna go with 39. All right, we're gonna start on this one. See if I can do this by holding it in place. I think I can. This is a T55, by the way. All right, it's gonna be close. So I can just hold it with my hand, and we're gonna go kind of in a star pattern. All right, per usual, don't do dumb stuff like me. Go ahead and get a pin and lock it in top dead center. And then it's not gonna rotate, and you can just torque it down like a normal human being. All right, thank you to Conrad for holding the transmission here. I have a marker. We're gonna go ahead and torque this the right way now, which is 25 Newton meters and then 90 degrees. So fire this up. So I'm gonna do all of them at 25 Newton meters first.
John, hand me a pen and I'll mark it as you.
Sure. Or
Caden,
Caden could be introduced to the channel here. And all right, so we're gonna start with 25. Just put one little dot on that guy. This is a nice assembly line. I like this. So much easier than doing this yourself.
All you have to do is invite us. Come on, man.
So thank you, sir, for letting me know that this is wrong. It was George. Thank you, buddy. So yeah, I don't mind looking like an idiot and being the guinea pig for you guys, as long as you correct me and help me not blow up my engines. So yeah, and I do still have the pin on the front of the crank over there so that this is not rotating on me.
Hence it's not moving. All right.
All right, that's all of them. Now we are gonna switch over to, remember how to do that.
Do you have another color? Are we gonna put multicolor stuff or are we just gonna do two lines? Two lines. All right, 2 lines.
Now George did say that the new suggestion on it is 120 degrees, I think he said, but the manual says 90 degrees, so we're just going 90 degrees. And I'm gonna assume this is gonna be super tight. Where are we at?
40, 50, 50.
Jesus. Yes, our yellow will be down at the bottom after this. Holy cow, this is tight.
There you go. Fantastic.
Perfect. Man.
Oh, awesome. Sounds like the tool works. Now you got to reset it.
Let me reset. How did we decide we reset it?
Your tool is much fancier than mine, so mine was a mere craftsman. I think you got the.
There you go. Right. I think it reset itself.
Well, the nice thing is you have marks, so
Yeah.
and video.
We have visualizations. All right, it's back to 0. All right, perfect.
Yep, I can see the mark and where it started. Hair more.
Where are we at?
70. Oh.
Hold on a second. Look at where the mark stops.
It's not to 90 yet.
It's not?
Yep.
That looks like it's being slow.
Yeah, stop. Stop, Aaron.
It does.
See
look
that
like it's
mark
being
where it
slow.
started? It's supposed to be at 90 degrees from that mark.
It seemed like you were moving it and the thing wasn't registering.
Yeah.
That's
It's almost 90. It's not quite straight to me though. Well,
Yeah, just do it. I mean, trust
well,
me.
he said to one. He said to one. Could be up to 120. So there you go. Yeah.
mark it again.
Somewhere between 90 and 120.
I wonder why that did it not reset proper?
Yeah.
It did reset. It was just when
It
it got
seemed
towards
like a
90.
lot of work.
Concur.
I'm getting tired just seeing you stretch.
Watching us.
Yeah. And make sure it doesn't slip, because that would really suck.
There you go. Randy.
And the beauty of marking it with a line is be able to see that. Oh, you're getting good at this. Does it vibrate?
Oh, that's it.
I gotta get that. That was probably like, what, 40, 50 bucks? Easy.
And it sounds really good.
It's Snap-on. I mean, these people buy trucks for selling these tools.
This is the most, well, other than like a lift or something, the most expensive tool I've ever bought. It was like $650. Something crazy.
But it sounds cool too.
Yeah, and it vibrates. I mean, you gotta pay extra for that. That's so freaking cool. You're either getting stronger or you're calibrating your own torque wrench. All right. Before we put them, make sure you've got all of them.
Yeah, it's all of them.
All right, we can go back to the tape and confirm. Okay, next we have our torque converter here. You can see that there is a slot in the back of this. It is going to go over this shaft, and down in there where you can't see it are two things that can go inside the little slots there to let it go in one little further more recess, if that makes any sense. I feel like I'm babbling, so let me just show you. I'm gonna pick this up, put it on there, and I'm gonna slowly rotate it until I feel like it clicks in place and it should seat further. All right, let's see if I can do this. Torque converter is very heavy, as you know, if you are doing this already. So I just want to be careful and not hurt that thing. All right, it is on. Now I want to kind of rotate it. Pushing it in, because I think it should go in another notch. Unless there it goes. See how it went in just a little bit further. Now, what I can do, that it's fully seated, is you take this pin and there's a hole on the top here that you go down, and if it is in far enough, it will lock into here. So it is not in far enough. So let me just keep turning it, pushing. There we go. It was super obvious that it went all the way in now. So now if I go in through this top hole, it will drop into this little detent right here. Oops. Let me show you. So this pin comes down and drops into there to lock it into place. So when you are removing this, the thing I did not do that was incorrect is you are supposed to lock this in place as you rotate it each 120 degrees to remove these bolts. And when you finally get the last two off, you leave this in place. When you detach the transmission from the engine, because what that will do is it will keep your torque converter right here with your transmission, and that's how your supposed to remove it. Otherwise you can damage the shaft and other stuff. So that's the correct way to remove it. And to put it back into the car, you want to have this pin here holding it in place. And when I have somebody else to help me, we're going to carry this transmission back. We are going to mate it with the engine and go ahead and through the outside of here, of course, put all of the bolts to fasten and secure it. Then we can come in and put these 2 bolts in to attach it to our, it's not a flywheel in this case, I guess it's called a flex plate. So we're going to attach this to the flex plate. Then you'll remove the pin, rotate it 120 degrees, reinsert the pin, put 2 more bolts in, repeat. All right, so we had it at top dead center here with the teardrop to prepare it for installation right through here. That is where we're going to rotate this so the back of the, where the bolts go are accessible. And there are 3 different locations for that. So I don't know if you can read these marks on here. Let me zoom in. All right, this one here says U5. And then if you go another 120 degrees, you will see a U4 and another 120 degrees, and you'll see a U6. So U4, 5, and 6 are the places where we're gonna rotate this to, where we can see those bolts. And again, this is just a 24 millimeter socket, and you definitely want to make sure you rotate this clockwise only. So let me go ahead and rotate our engine here. And we're gonna keep an eye so that we don't go past it. So here's our pinhole. So I'm just gonna kind of rotate as I'm pressing that in. All right, it's snapped in. That is the correct place. So if you look through the starter hole, you can see that those holes there are lined up so that we will be able to insert the bolts to attach the torque converter to this plate right here. All right, I got my neighbor coming over. We are going to try to lift this up, stick it here, and get some bolts going. So we'll do a little time lapse for your enjoyment. Three people, when I removed it, there was just 2 of us that took it off. So I was like, oh, we can pick it up and move it over. I forgot that the torque converter did not come off with it when we removed it the first time because we could not get to those bolts because the chain was broken. With that torque converter, 2 people are not gonna pick that up and put it on. So you're gonna need a hoist, some kind of transmission jack, something to get these things picked back up and together. And I had the 3 different size bolts all lined up in the order that I took them off. And in the haste of all of this, I kicked them and knocked them all around. And I don't remember where they came off. I'm gonna try to use the manual as my instruction source. This blue one is 70 millimeters. This one is 90 millimeters. This is 100 millimeters in length. So according to them, slot number 1 right here is the 70 millimeters. So I'm gonna put that in here and we're gonna tighten them down. Now when I put this on originally, I just grabbed whatever bolts were available. I put one on here, one on over there just to hold this thing in place. And these are 16 millimeters. These things get torqued to 85 Newton meters. Slot number 2 over here is supposed to be one of the 90 millimeter bolts. All right, number 3 down here is supposed to be another 70. Yeah, well, that's wrong. 70 definitely does not go down there. I think it should be one of these 90s. That's how I had them laid out, at least. The manual says a 70, but definitely a 90. All right, 2 bolt holes left over here. 2 bolts, one really long one, the 100 and the 70. They are both through holes. They can come all the way out the back. So I don't know if it matters which one goes where. I'm gonna put the short one in the bottom and the long one up here on top. The long one seems wrong in either place, but like I said, it comes all the way out through the back. And somehow I removed this transmission without filming it, no idea how. All right, next are the 6mm bolts that are gonna go in through there. So I just have them on a long extension. And this is the part you have to be super careful, because if you drop this down into there, you have to take the whole thing apart, probably, unless you can somehow get lucky and get a magnet down there and get it out. But chances are you'll have to redo it. To increase my odds of success, I wish I had a thinner 6mm socket, but I'm gonna use this magnetizer and demagnetizer on it to try to magnetize this bit just a bit, because it is slightly magnetic now, so that it will hold this on just a little bit better, have less chance of it falling off in there. So I will see if I can carefully thread the needle insert it through the back of the flex plate and get it started. There. Make sure it's fully seated. All right, we got number 2 in there. So again, this is going through that flex plate and into your torque converter. So this is what holds the torque converter on to the rotating parts. All right, these are gonna be 39 Newton meters as well. So torque these down. So once you have one in place, you can pull this pin, maybe, really wedged in there. Now we want to rotate it 180 degrees. All right, now it's much harder to turn. You can see our torque converter is turning along with us. All right. Very carefully put these 2 bolts in. Just like you don't want to drop the bolts down there, you also don't want to drop your socket. All right, remove our pin up top. Reconnect these 2 pipes. I think we got to reconnect our vacuum line right there. And we are pretty much done. Now the one stud that is right in here, you can see the back of that stud right there. There is a nut that goes on that, and there is one bolt, which I think is right here in the diagram. That is the one that was really hard to get to with a weird arrangement that I had to set up on my manual Boxster. Don't know where that bolt is right now, so I don't remember if this one just didn't have it when I removed it, or if it's still sitting around my shop somewhere, but there should be a bolt in there as well. And voila, you have reinstalled an automatic transmission in a Porsche Boxster. Yes, I remember to get the space required to get these off in the first place, I just removed this one bolt here. It is a T40, and I just kind of set it back here in place so I wouldn't lose it, which I'm glad I did because now I see it. So with this removed, these whole brackets can move, they line up. This is where they get bolted into, but this gives you enough flexibility to get those remounted. All right, again, I don't have a removal video for this one, but I should have given you the tips you need to remove it if you're watching this one for an automatic. I have a full video where I remove the transmission and replace a clutch on a manual Boxster, but I hope this was helpful. You guys can figure it out from here. If you have any other helpful tips, please leave them in the comments below. For others, if you guys have questions, ask them in the comments, or look, maybe somebody's already answered them for you there. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day. Please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and I'll see you on the next video.